African leaders, they disrespect and humiliate the President of the Republic of France, Emmanuel Macron. So, in this video, I want us to keep these questions in mind, which we would like to give the answer later on as we are developing. Why African leaders they are now having this courage to face the West? Question number one. Question number two. Why Emmanuel Macron still don't learn his lesson after all the humiliation that he's been receiving from African leaders? Because we have a couple of African leaders, which will be discussed again through this video, that had not only embarrassed Emmanuel Macron, but they humiliate him, whether it is within his country borders, whether it is outside France, whether it is here in Africa continent. This man has been humiliated by African leaders. We're having President William Ruto from Kenya, who sackaged this man in front of his people right in France. We're having President Cyril Ramaphosa from South Africa, who had also humiliated Emmanuel Macron. We're having President Ibrahim Traore from Burkina Faso, who did the same thing. What about the military government of Niger, who have also sackaged and grilled President Emmanuel Macron through a press conference that he was giving? I can go on with this list. There's many leaders, without forgetting President Tshisekedi from the Republic of Congo, DRC, who had even exchanged words with the President Emmanuel Macron. So there are so many African leaders. President Nana from Ghana did also the same thing. So why African leaders they are having this courage to start now facing the West, especially France, and humiliating France in front of the world? Guys, in order for us to understand all this properly, let us look back into the history, because it is very important to always remember the story of Africa. You know, it is very important because one of these days I came across a comment in one of our video. A gentleman was complaining, saying that no, you guys always talk about France, blah 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 blah, and America. You don't have another topic or what? Then I laugh. I'm not surprised, because if this man, if he's a true Pan-African, if he is a true African, he will have understand that it is very important we get to mention all these countries. Because if Africa, it is where it is today, if Africa still have to deal with the poverty, if Africa can't still develop their economy, if Africa have to live in this miserable life, it is because some countries decided to come and destroy the happiness of Africans. So let us not beat around the bush. That is the truth. That is the reality. Some people back then decided to leave their affairs, decided to leave their ancestors, their lands, for them to go to Africa continent and start doing bad things to other people's land. That is a history, and there's nothing we can change. So I believe for us as an African child, African youth, African, this generation of African, we don't need to keep quiet about this kind of matters. We need to talk about it. We need to break about it. We need to teach our children at school about it. Because we all know that the mission of the West power, it is to delete the history of Africa. because they don't want our children, the next generation of African child, to not know of what they have done in Africa as crime. These people, they don't want that. They want to make sure that they eliminate all the historians, all the people who can write books, teachers, all anything that can make the story of Africa to not be deleted. These people that are there to make sure that they arrest all this so that no one should not talk about Africa tomorrow. And that is something that me and you, we are not going to allow them. So we need to teach, we need to talk about our Africa continent. Because if we don't do it, no one else will do it. They came here in Africa, they did whatsoever they have done. They wrote books, and then they came, had the courage to impose it on Africans. Go in most of African school, you'll find out that there is some history books which they are teaching our children, even all of us, since we went to school. We knew a lot of things about Charles de Gaulle, whatever they call him, that is a former French president. We know about Jacques Chirac. We know about American presidents, Germany, chancellors. We know about all these people. So they impose their history on African child. But go today in France, ask them, or a child who goes to school in France today, go and ask them something about the Africa continent if they know. Go and ask them about Nelson Mandela. This new generation, if they can tell you about Nelson Mandela, go and ask them about the Prof. Patrice Lumumba. If they know about this man, go and ask them, for example, maybe about Julius Malema, if they even know him. They don't teach their children about Africa. They don't want them to know anything which has to do with Africans. That is something that they found normal. But as for us, we still have to get to know what these people they have done in Africa and what they are doing in their countries. That is also something that Africans we need to make sure that we stand against it. We should not allow these kind of things to continue. Yes, because if you go in France in their school, if they have to if they have to talk about something which have to do with Africans, they'll be talking about something such as in Africa there is monkeys. In Africa, the people there are like animals. That is the kind of stories. That is the kind of things that they usually tell their children about Africa. I was talking to one of a family in America, Black Americans. And guess what kind of education they told them about Africans? That no, in Africa we are in the forest where there is a leopard, lions, crocodiles, monkeys. That is the kind of image they sell to our fellow Africans who are in Africa. And are mocking them, telling them that no, you guys are so lucky because you were born and raised here. Go and check your fellow Africans. Go and check your color, your fellow brothers who have the same color as yours, how they are living. They are living in bush. Those are the kind of things that these people they usually sell to Africans. So now they want us to keep quiet about us telling the world what Africans we are, the values of Africans. They don't want us to teach our stories because they know very well that us teaching our story, us talking about our things that had affected Africans, it will expose them to the eyes of the world. And that is at the point where we are at the moment. We are busy exposing them because we can see already their intentions. Their intentions are not to help the world know what kind of things they have done in Africa. That is the reason why, if you look all their media, when look France 24, that channel, it's the one of it is in France. CNN is for Americans, BBC is for British, Go and look all these channels, Fox News, Voice of America. Go and look them, you'll see that they don't discuss any matters when it comes to Africa. They don't talk anything about Africans. They like to show you things that you don't want to see. They like you to hear things that your ears they're not ready to hear. Because if your ear want to hear about what is happening in Sudan, where people are about to engage in a civil war, if your ears they're about to hear what is happening in Niger, where France want to go and invade that country because the military government refused to obey and bow the France leadership. They'll try to take you to a certain kind of news that will distract you. They'll show you what is happening in Ukraine. They'll show you what is happening in Israel. They'll show you kind of nonsense that will never gonna benefit you. Things that are happening in Africa, things that Pan Africans want to discuss about, those are the things they will run away. They don't have those kind of topics. They don't want anything like that because these medias they are at the service of the open eye masters. The West power they had put this media on place so that these medias will campaign them. These medias, if they want to talk Africa, it is when they are about to install or to place in order a puppet president in one of African country. That is the moment you will see them. They'll start now discussing about that person, trying to campaign for him in good way, so that the next things, once that person is in power, you will be at their service. Will give that person will give them the green lights for them to go and start looting all the African minerals which are based in their countries. That is the only time you will see this Western media get to discuss about what is happening in Africa. They're never going to discuss about the conflict that is going on in Africa, the terrorists that we are having in Africa. Today they are telling us about a terrorist group. They are telling us about Yemen terrorist group. But in Africa, do you know how many terrorist groups do we have? How many times have you switched your TV and see these people get to talk about Boko Haram terrorist group? Do you know what Boko Haram does in Nigeria each and every day? Do you know how many Nigerian civilians are being victim from this so-called Boko Haram? But they are there. They are not discussing about it. Why? Because they are the mastermind behind all this nonsense that Boko Haram has been causing. What about what is happening in the east of DR Congo, where there's a conflict which has been going there for more than 25 years now, a conflict that never finished, but they never talk about it. We're talking about more than 12 million Congolese who've been killed over there. They never discuss about it, whether it is in the United Nations General Assembly, whether it is Joe Biden welcoming African leaders over there. They never discuss anything like that. Do you know why? Because they're the mastermind behind all these conflicts. They want it when Congolese are fighting among themselves so that them they'll be able to continue looting Congolese minerals. Last time I gave you a very easy example. I say, look, iPhone. Today we are talking about iPhone 15. These iPhones, they are more expensive even some of the second use car. These iPhones and computers, they are made out of African minerals. And these minerals come from Africa, leave Africa virgin, if I have to put it in that way, without being touched, without being transformed or whatsoever. They take this mineral the way it is, they took it to their countries, they fabricate something, and then they come back with it in African continent to sell it at to Africans at a very good high price. A iPhone, you can buy 2 or 3 cars, a used car in Europe. In Africa, that money that a person is spending to buy an iPhone, you can buy a used car somewhere. So you see that these people, they are playing us, and that is the reason why they don't want Africa to have one language. They don't want Africans to have a better understanding of one another. They don't want Africans to be united. They don't want Africans to have one army, because if Africa have one army, then which means all these terrorist groups we see all over Africa, in Chad, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, or Niger, or DR Congo, Nigeria, all these groups or rebellion groups, they'll finish. They're not going to have a chance for them to go and turn against their own country. That is why they are bringing a lot of conflict in Africans, because they want us to be separated. Because the more we are separated, it do them good. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel excited. It gives them even more chances for them to continue looting Africa. Now, here again, the question is, are you going to allow them to continue doing these things? Because they've been doing it since our forefathers. Our grandfathers went through the same things. Our fathers, now it is our generation. We're not going to accept that, isn't it? We're not going to accept that, because we are going to do our part. We are going to make sure that even the generation after tomorrow will have something to say about Africa. So we'll be talking here. You can criticize us, you can call us names, we don't care. But the truth is that Africa, one day soon, will be united. Africa, it will stand on its feet and will defeat this West, because that's where we are getting. And that's the reason why we make sure that this message will keep on going everywhere and will reach to everyone, so that everyone will understand what Africans really think. So now, guys, with all this example I give you, please, guys, make sure that you like this video, okay? And I see all your comments, guys. Keep on commenting. We'll responding to some of your questions in few minutes. But as we continue, so I was saying that with all this nonsense, the things, the crime, the looting that France have done in Africa, it had woken up a whole entire generation of African youth. We have woken up, we open our eyes, we are now telling the truth regardless of who is involved. We don't care whether you are the president of America or France or British, Germany, Italy, Belgium. We don't care. Out of everything that Africans have went through, the only good things that we can do right now is to make sure that we had that one courage to face this Western media and their strategies, to expose them out there. And Africans start standing from different parts of Africa continent. There were a lot of prostates. We first start fighting with detectors, which were in Africa continent, because we know that most of these detectors, they managed to survive this long in power. It's because they were having the support of the open eye master system, because they will kill, they will steal, they will do all these bad things, and the West power, they don't condemn them. Again, why? Because they have something to benefit in the leadership of these people. Now, as Africans, we first start fighting these detectors, and we eliminate them, not physically, but we remove them in power one by one. We remove so many of them, and now we only remain like with 5 detectors in Africa, which I see them going down anytime soon. Because even though they're still in power, these detectors, they are now at the point of organizing elections. Detectors back then in days, they were not even organizing elections, because what they say is what's going to remain. They will be staying there. We have people like Mobutu Sese Seko from DRC. Back then, they used to call them Zaire. This man last in power for 32 years, and he never even organized a single election. There are so many of them. We have this other one from Uganda. I forgot his name. He's dead now. There were so many of them, but we managed to remove them in power one by one. Now we only remain with Sassou Nguesso from Congo Brazzaville. We are having Obiangema, Theodore Obiangema. I think it's from Guinea, Equatorial Guinea or Bissau. I'm not too sure, but somewhere there. We are having Paul Biya. That is another man. We're having Paul Biya. He's the current president of Republic of Cameroon. Yeah, Samuel Eto'o country. This man has been in power. I don't know for 52 years now. I don't even know. And the man is too old to the point that he can't even give a speech. He can't even stand. You guys recently, you saw a video of him trending on social media, how he was invited in one of the world big events. And they put him there with his papers which had his speech. The man did not even know the reason why he was there. God, you have not seen it all in Africa. This man is asking his protocol, saying that, where am I? And who are these people? So he doesn't even know that I'm here to represent the Republic of Cameroon. Me as their president, I need to give a powerful speech. The kind of leaders that we've been having in Africa. So Paul Biya is one of the dictators that remain in power. Besides Paul Biya, we're having again this other one. The name is going a bit far. There are about like 5 dictators, presidents, that I see them being knocked out of the power anytime soon, because that was one of the first goal, the first step that African youth we took, and we succeed so far. Now that African did that first step, because I have to go through this so that you'll understand on how Africa leaders, they are now able to have the courage to look someone such as Emanuel Macron. Thank you, Manuel Ismail. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. I really appreciate for your comment. So as I was saying that we need to understand how African, they are now having the courage to have that thing, like that courage to face someone powerful as Emmanuel Macron, to face someone like Joe Biden and tell them the truth right in front of them. We need to understand how we get there. So it is all thanks to you, the person who's watching me, because you stand, you understand that no, we can't tolerate this kind of nonsense in Africa, whereby our leaders, they are at the service of the West power. And you stand, I said in first step that we took, it was to chase out all the African dictators. And then the second one, it was now to start locating all African leaders which are at the service of the West. In other words, I like to call them the puppet presidents. Okay, these puppet presidents, we had to go and locate them in any way possible, and then start now removing them in power by not voting for them. We're having many of them each and every day that are going out. So all this, it had scary African leaders, because when they sleep, they wake up, they find out that no, there is a military coup which took place in Burkina Faso. Before they try to close their eyes and open it again, they find out that, oh, Princess Royalty watching us all the way from America. Thank you so much, Princess. Mata to you, to Yapini. Thank you so much, Mata. So as I was saying, guys, you find out that another president is being knocked out of power. You take the poor president of Burundi, Kurunzinza. President Kurunzinza, he tried to become a puppet president for Republic of Burundi. The moment he went out of his country, he just traveled to his neighbor's country in Tanzania to attend one of the summits which was over there. When he was about to go back to his country, he gets some sad news of someone telling him that, no, look, you can't come back to the country anymore because as we are talking right now, you are no longer in power. There is a military coup which took place. You look around, you find out that no, in Mali, the government is out. Now we're having military government. The next side, you find out about Niger. No, over there we're having military coup as well. The most recent military coup is the one that took place in Gabon. Who could have imagined that Ali Bongo was going to be removed in power by his loyal men? His own cousin brother is the one who ended up replacing him. That's another thing. So all this movement that's been happening around Africa, whereby African leaders are now losing power when the less expected. The next thing they find themselves that they are powerless. They become normal civilians. Some of them, they have to run in exile. Well, this had made a lot of African leaders to start now wondering, like, okay, what if I'm the next? Yeah, they kind of like now asking questions like, okay, what if I'm the next? So in that case, let me do what is right. Let me do what is right, what is good for my people. Where the West want to come and play with me, I'll stand for my people. And that is how we are now seeing African leaders having the courage to face someone as Emmanuel Macron, telling him the truth about what they are doing, and telling them what they're trying to do if it's something bad. This kind of courage, before, African leaders, they were not having it. I'll tell you why. African leaders, they were not having this kind of courage before because all this, they used to believe that it is the Western power, US, France, British, Belgium, etc. They used to believe that these are the people who were giving power. If you want to become a president, you just need to travel somewhere to oversee in the Western, one of the Western countries, do some lobbying over there, and then once they approve you, let's say for an example, say that, no guys, I want to become the president of the Republic of South Africa. So if you guys make me become the president, I'll give you the chance for you guys to take all the coal. Yes, I'll close all the coal mining in South Africa, and then I'll be selling you all the coal to you. Or maybe I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll take all the DRC diamond, I'll give it to you. Or maybe I'll take all the uranium from Niger, I'll be giving it to you at this price. So once, as I always said, that the West power, US with its alliance, they are in Africa because they were having some benefits. That is the reason why they never feel like going anywhere, because they believe that being in Africa for them is a good thing that will make them succeed in a lot of things. That's the reason why they never want to go anywhere. Now, these missions, it does not work good for them anymore. So these African leaders, they are now kind of like, no, I don't want to do something that will make my people to go against me and organize a military coup or not vote for me anymore. So let me just do my part. And then African leaders, they start coming in their numbers. Do you guys still remember what the current president of Kenya, President William Ruto? I mean, guys, I myself, as a Pan-African, I give a lot of credit to this man. You know, let us shout to him, because we need to recognize our heroes when they're still alive. We need to support each and every African who's trying to stand out there, put their life at risk so that they can help Africa continent to stand on its own. So I don't care whether you love these leaders or not, but I just want to make sure that um, the the thing, the um, the missions, that these people they get to share out there is something that need our support for all of us. So that is the reason why I'm giving credit to someone like William Ruto, because this man, I've watched him a couple of times in different world platforms where he get to talk in behalf of Africans. Before he talk about Kenya, William Ruto will tell you, us as Africans, we want 1, 2, 3, 4. President William Ruto did humiliate Emmanuel Macron, and by calling him by his name, not even like Mr. President, like we get to see some hypocrite presidents. Sorry guys, I'm sitting next to the road, so there's kind of like noise. I just hope that you are being patient with us. So at least it's not that hypocrite to go and try to suck Emmanuel Macron fingers. He had the courage to look Emmanuel Macron right in his face and telling him that, no, look, you cannot continue to disrespect Africa for this long. And his point of view, they were discussing about franc CFA currency in the most of African countries, whereby as we all know, or maybe in case if you are not aware, in Africa, most of the French-speaking countries, they are still using the money of their colonizer, which is France, and they call it franc CFA. We're having these countries, there are so many of them, like Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger, Congo, Brazza, Togo, Gabon, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Chad. There are so many of them. All of them are still using this foreign currency. And this is something that we've been telling you time to time that no, Africa will not gonna move forward if we still have to worship our colonizer through one way or another. Because what these people they have done is to pretend to leave Africa and give freedom to Africans, but yet they still live in more physically in Africa through the economy. Because they know that if they have to let the African economy by itself, if they have to give that freedom to Africans when it comes to the economy, well, France will collapse. Can you imagine France without the African minerals? Can you imagine France without having franc CFA in all these countries that I mentioned? Because each and every time when these countries they are using franc CFA, they pay tax, they pay some benefits to France. So President William Ruto was reminding Emmanuel Macron that no, you can't be the one who put franc CFA in Africa, and yet you are the one who's in control of Europe Bank, Europe Central Bank, and the World Reserve Bank. That does not make sense. It's like you are eating the chicken and you had the courage to also eat the chicken eggs at the same time. So President William Ruto, he was telling Macron that if you guys want to still have your monetary taking place in Africa, then at least let Africa also be in control of the Europe Reserve Bank. Let Africans also have something to say when it comes to this World Reserve Bank. Because for the fact that Africans they don't have the last word to say to all this, that is the reason why you see these people, they're having a very easy access to sanction African countries that try to disobey them. Mm-hmm. I'll explain you this. See what they usually do. When just because they are the one who in power, then the one in charge of this World Bank and the Europe Bank, you will find that they're the one who print this money. They're the one who give aid. They're the one who give loan of this money to African countries. And whatsoever they do it so that they'll get benefit or profit. For an example, they'll go to Chad and say that no, we are going to give you a loan of this much money of amount. They call it FMI or FIM. I forgot how that old organization is. Europe, what International Monetary, whatever they call it. I don't even care, and I'm not even gonna make any effort for me to know what is this abbreviation means. For me, they're all the same because I know there's nothing there that benefit Africa's child. So they organize all this world. They are the one who always come in Africa after making the economy of that country collapse, after putting sanctions on that country. For example, like Zimbabwe, the day when Zimbabwe will be, when these people will decide to remove, when they will decide to remove sanctions against Zimbabwe, you will see them. They'll come as the first people to start helping people of Zimbabwe. They would like to put a debt on Zimbabwean government so that whatsoever Zimbabwean they'll be getting as their profits is not gonna go anywhere. They'll be the one who have to start collecting it. They'll come for an example, they'll say that no, we know the economy of Zimbabwe is very down. So okay, whether it's President Mnangagwa or whether it to be someone else, they'll be like, oh, no, look, we're willing to give you 25 billion US dollar so that you give us with this and that. And if you accept, you become again their slave. Because remember, whenever you take a credit even at the bank, you become, should I say, you become a slave. Because each and every effort that you put into your work so that you can gain something, you know that no, you are doing this so that you can finish up the debt that you already have. And that is something that these people they've been doing. So President William Ruto, he was just trying to tell Macron that no, it is either you guys you remove your money and leave Africans will have our own currency, and then we'll have our own African Reserve Bank, which not none of you or your country, Europe country, that will have access to leave Europe and come to Africa, to one of African country and start doing business with African countries. But they'll have to go through African Reserve Bank and negotiate with African Reserve Bank, which will be representing the whole Africa continent. Once whatsoever will be discussed there is being approved, then that is when you guys can have an access either to loan or to be loaned from African Reserve Bank. Guys, I'm telling you, when I listen these words coming from President William Ruto, I was so touched, I was so moved, I was so revolted at the same time because I was like, these are the kind of the speech that we need to be seeing African leaders saying out there. To be seeing African leaders facing the worst, telling them exactly how things are supposed to be done. And at the same time, I was so excited because my face was full of, like, I was big smiling because I could see President Macron where he was seated, how embarrassed he was. Because all these words, when it was said, it was right in his country. He invited President William Ruto as a visitor, and the men went there and ended up telling him the truth right there in front of his citizens. These are the kind of African leaders that we need to have in Africa continent. If we want to develop this beautiful continent, of course, Aliyah, Israel, thank you so much. Aliyah, she's watching us from US. Thank you so much, guys. So as I was saying again, that if we really want to make sure that we are doing things in the right way, well, it is good. At least we have this kind of African leaders who comes and make sure that everything have to be told the way it is. Besides President William Ruto, here comes another person. Did you guys heard about what the military government in Niger, what they did to Emmanuel Macron? Because you guys don't forget that Emmanuel Macron, he went there over there in Niger, threatening this military government, saying that you guys are not gonna go anywhere. We'll impose sanction on you with their partners, which is the US. That no, we are going to put sanction on you so that you must return back and reinstate the president, which I call their puppet president in Niger. They want him to go back in power. Otherwise, France will invade Niger. Well, when France was saying like that, because I believe they had that faith that they were going to succeed in less than 24 hours, because they knew that they were having their military base, which was located in areas, some areas of Niger, Republic of Niger. They had faith in all this because they knew that, okay, it's just a matter of 24 hours, Niger government will be in our hands. But Africans end up standing together. We see Africans all over around the world, whether they are located in America, whether they are located in China, Russia, Ireland, everywhere, they came up with one word saying that no, we're not going to allow this kind of nonsense to happen, because Africa, it is not for sale. Africa, it is not a banana farm where everyone will come and do whatever it pleases them. Africans stood all over around the world together with the people of Niger, and we saw how France back off. They could not have the courage to go all the way to Niger and do whatsoever they were planning to do. They failed. Now, they did not just keep quiet. They had another plan, and their plan was to make sure that they can see on how they can replace this military government with someone else by start using some of the civilian or politician leaders who can go on the streets and start calling for people to be to strike against this military government, so that when this military government feel like that, they'll end up giving power to these civilians. And once they give power to these civilians, the open IMAS system, which is represented by US, France, British, they'll have easy access to place their puppet president over there in Niger. As they were doing that, the military president in Niger, he came and tell them that, no, guys, you are wasting your time for nothing. We know what you are up to. We are aware of what you guys have been doing in this country. Therefore, just to show you that we are also more serious and we are very determined to face you, all the uranium that Niger was selling to France, they are not going to sell to France anything until further notice. So we all know that the uranium of Niger, it plays a very big role when it comes to the economy of France, because it helps them to warm up their house, school, office during the winter season. That's what France has been benefiting in Niger for all these years. Now, seeing this leader coming forward and telling them that, no, look, France, we don't need you anymore. We don't need you anymore. Get out of our country. Once you're out, we don't want to have anything to do with you, because you've been hurting us. You've been destroying our economy. You've been bringing, you have been bringing a lot of conflict among ourselves. So we don't need you. Niger, they chased France out, and France left. They refused with their minerals. They said anything that France used to benefit from this country is not going to have it. Do you know what that means for France? That is a very big lose for France, because France is not going to be able to survive without the mineral of Niger. And them doing that, as we're talking right now, they already stop even their friendship, their diplomatic relationship with France is not there, because once they chase France out, they also chase France embassy, as we saw also here in South Africa, how the president of EFF, Julius Malema, managed to put a motion in the parliament so that the Israel embassy should be closed and be removed from South Africa system, which is taking place right now. So France is in a big trouble, because without the mineral of Niger, France is nothing. Was that all? No. We're having Ibrahim Traoré from Burkina Faso. This young man is in his 30s. Since he took power, or since he took the leadership of that country, the man is standing in the step of Thomas Sankara, one of true Pan-Africans who had given his life so that Africans can understand that we are our own leaders. We are the only one who can change things in Africa. This man died when it was not even his time, because the West power, they did not want to have anything to do with him. They want to eliminate him physically, and they succeed to do that. So Ibrahim Traoré, since he came in power, is not only there to walk into the step of Thomas Sankara, but is there to revenge the death of all Pan-African heroes who died. We're talking about Patrice Emery Lumumba from DR Congo, Mohamed Nkrumah from Ghana. We're talking about many African leaders who died, who have been killed physically, emotionally, in any way possible by the Western power. And the man is more determined to do that. Since he took Burkina Faso, he changed things around. You guys, you saw how he gave this powerful speech when he was visiting the Republic of Russia, telling the West that you guys, you've been stealing from us as Africans, because we give power to civilians, and you are having an easy access to seduce these civilians by promising them power, to keep them in power and make them become dictators, by guaranteeing their security to whatsoever they have still. Like, no, look, you can steal as much as you want, you can kill as much as you want, you can violate human rights as much as you want, but we're not gonna judge you. If it happens that things goes ugly for you, then you come to our country. We will welcome you. We'll give you a place to sit. That's as you guys saw it with Ali Bongo from Gabon, a man who's being removed in power by his military. He may believe that is the one who won the election. He believed that he's the one who had something to say. Now, instead of him calling people who had voted for him so that they can come to his rescue, guess what Ali Bongo did? He went on and called to his Western power friends reminding them of kind of contract that they had signed together, saying that me and my wife, we've been here. Where's that video? I mean, it's very important. Sometimes we just get to look of what had happened. Hmm? Me and my wife, we've been here. They blocked me. They don't want me to go anywhere. They want 1, 2, 3, 4. He says whatsoever he was saying over there, calling these people because you know very well that these people that are thieves, these people that are the one who've been keeping him in power, these people that are the same people who've been allowing him to commit all the crime and steal from the Gabonese as much as he wanted, and they never judge him. So they were busy giving him that guarantee, telling him that no, the man is doing good. Now when things get ugly for him, he came then and is like, me and my wife were in trouble. You still remember this?
On the president of Gabon, and I'm to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world. Tell them to make noise, for the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is another place, and I'm at the residence. Right now, I'm at the residence, and nothing happening. Nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make the noise.
Make noise.
To make noise.
Make noise.
Make noise. I'm thanking you.
For what?
Thank you.
So this man is even thanking them. Thanking them for what reasons? Obviously, for sure, like it's like I've done my part. It is your turn. The Western power, France, US, British, come to my intervention. Help me out. Because I'm being under the house arrest. My wife, I don't know where she is. My children, I don't know where she is. I mean, where they are. So I'm here. Please make noise. Make noise. Make noise. Do you know the kind of noise I was referring to? Make noise is what we're seeing in Niger, whereby a military coup took place, and we're seeing the West power. They are coming to start threatening the military government by telling them that no, we don't recognize this military government. We are going to put sanctions on this military government. We are going to do blah, 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 blah. They do all those things because they believe that they can do all, like, whatsoever pleases them. That is how these people, they've been doing it. So they make those noise because they know that if they threaten to put some sanctions on this military government, they're not going to go ahead with their plans. They'll ending up power to the civilians. And I told you again that the West power, US, France, etc., these people, they want the power to be in the hands of civilians instead of militaries, because it is more easy for them to convince these civilians and not militaries. Because militaries, even if you have to convince their chief, you're not going to be able to convince the whole army. And that is the reason why you see in some of African countries, there is a military coup after another military coup. Yes, military coup after another military coup, because you take power today, the moment you start working with the West, one of your bodyguard or general in the army, they betray you, they hit you hard, they take you out, they remain in power. Then also if they try to go aside, someone else also come and take. So you see that military coup after military coup. You guys, you are seeing it in the two Sudans. All those countries, it's all about military coup each and every time. So guys, now because Ibrahim Traore The man stand firm. He did not want to have anything to do with France. He sabotaged them. You guys even saw recently how he sabotaged the UN General Assembly. That is the place where you're supposed to be coming yourself as the president to give your point of view. But he reject everyone. Why? Because he feel like, no, I don't need to be there. He end up sending his finance minister, who had to give it that powerful speech that we did play for you back then. But France did not want to see this man. They decided now to eliminate him physically. They want to eliminate Ibrahim Traoré because they believe that if this man continues to be like this, then they'll keep on losing even more part of Africa continent. They tried to eliminate him physically. They failed. They tried to organize a military coup in Burkina Faso. They failed. Now, the man, since he's clever enough to understand and he have a good idea, he knows what kind of people that he's been dealing with. Ibrahim Traoré had to tell France that stay out, not only of my country, but stay out of Africa. Because as long as he's still in power, it's gonna poison each and every African leader for them to open their eyes and not want to have anything to do with you. That are the words of Ibrahim Traoré saying to President Emanuel Macron. So you can see already that all this message, all these words being said in front of Emmanuel Macron in different platforms, it's something that he had really exposed France. And it's something that had shows that the impact that France used to have back in days, the power that France used to have over African country back in days, that things it has finished. They are no more the same anymore because things have changed around. African leaders, they are now afraid to face military coup. They are now afraid to be taken out of the office by their people. They are now afraid to not being voted by their people, all because they have something to do with the West. And that is the reason why they are running away from anything which has to do with the West power. Do you guys still remember another example of a President Cyril Ramaphosa? What he said to Emmanuel Macron when he had to remind them that, no, look, don't take us like babies. President Cyril Ramaphosa did say that. I think I might still have that video here with me. He reminded them that we are not kids. We are not kids, so that will allow you to keep on disrespecting us, stop treating us like kids because we are not beggars. Yeah. He was reminding President Emmanuel Macron because of the things that he had said about African leaders going to Ukraine and Russia. So he make a mockery over these 7 African leaders, saying that, no, you went over there to ask for help instead of bringing peace. So President Cyril Ramaphosa could not keep quiet. He then also decided to give him the answer, the proper answer. Listen to this.
Beggars that we are being dealt with out of generosity. I think it's important in the new era that the world is in now that there should be a good measure of equality among sovereign nations.
Listen to that.
You know, recently, 7 African countries decided to go and put a call for peace to Ukraine and to Russia.
This is very good, guys.
we raised a number of issues. Zambia was represented, Comoros was represented, Republic of Congo was represented, Senegal was represented, Uganda, as well as South Africa. So we were all represented, and Egypt as well. So we were all at one, that even as we were going to address an issue of the war which has had a negative impact on the African continent, which is the rise in prices for food, rise in prices for fertilizers, we were clear that we are not going there as beggars. We're not going to ask for a favor to both Ukraine and Russia.
Yes.
We were going there to say, open up the Black Sea Channel so that the grains and the
So you understand, guys?
go into the world market. So we were not on a begging mission.
We were not in the begging mission. Okay?
We are in great need as a continent.
President Ramaphosa had to remind Emmanuel Macron about this. Because that's what they see Africans. They believe that Africa, our job is to beg. No. Africa don't need Europe to survive. Africa does not have anything that they can envy from Europeans. If it's not those their buildings which was built with Africa minerals. They are the one who need Africa in order for them to survive. They are the one who need African minerals in order for them to keep up breathing. Without Africa, Europe is nothing. Without Africa, US is nothing. Without Africa, British is nothing. That is the reason why these people, they don't want to let go of Africa. That is the one capital thing that makes these people to not allow Africans to have their true economic freedom. Because they know very well that they are nothing without Africa. Now, they are doing all these things. They thought that it's going to still work for them like the way it used to be in the back in days. Now we are having African leaders who have understand our message, who are now having the courage, the one of Julius Malema, the one of Prof. Lumumba, the one of William Ruto, the one of President Tshisekedi, the one of Macky Sall from Senegal, the one of many African Pan-Africans. They now having that courage to go and tell them that, no, Mr. President, oh, Mr. Macron, don't talk to me like that. I'm not your child. No, don't say like this about Africans. No, don't do this. Don't do that. That is how things are supposed to be. That is how you gain respect. Because now it is more clear that Emmanuel Macron is not going to have the courage to just talk to any African leaders as he pleases. Because African leaders now, they can talk also back. They can tell him the truth right in front of his audience. Guys, it is very important that African leaders continue to do this, because it will also show the world that Africa is no more the same, but Africa, it had changed because it's now having a new generation. Thank you so much for watching this video up to now, guys. It was very important that we get to share this message with you. We take longer than we expected because we really want to do something about it, because I know it is weekend and you guys, you need to hear from us. So as I told you earlier on that we will be just going live with anywhere we'll be find ourselves. We are not in our studio until next year, because we are somewhere for public holidays. We're trying to also rest a little bit and refresh up, catching up some fresh air around the world somewhere. So please, let's stay tuned, and if it happens that you guys will find something beneficial on what we've been discussing, just make sure that you hit that like button so that Your message also will reach out to many more people out there. And if this is your first time to watch our videos, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Okay, click that subscribe button and then click the ring bell which is there, so that whenever we're live, you get a notification. Because what we do here, we talk about Africa matters in general ways. We look where we are coming from as Africa continent, and where we are, and where we want to be tomorrow. So our gospel here is to preach about the unity of Africa, is to preach about Africa having one language, having one more currency, having one military, you know, yeah, we just want to be united as Africans, so that the enemy must not have easy access to defeat us. Because I believe it's about time Africa we can start now developing our continent. So that's the reason why we're here. So please, if you want to join this big family, now you know what to do. Just make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate that. But also, don't forget what I said to you, that we'll be having a new show for those who join us a bit in delay. Earlier on, we were saying that next year we'll be having a new show called Top 7. Top 7, it is a show that we will be inviting you into the diaspora or around Africa continent to come and share with us your point of view on different topics that we will be suggesting time to time. So if you want to be one of our guests, here's the easy way to contact us. Just write us at Cool Bars, the name of the channel, Cool Bars, Cool Bars News at gmail.com. Cool Bars, no space, news, no space, at gmail.com. Tell us where you are located and how you would like to contribute as well, and then we'll get in contact with you, and then we'll tell you what to do next. So guys, that will be all for today. I believe that it's about time I leave you so that you can get busy with other stuff. So please be safe. If you are driving, don't drive and drinking, because it is a festive time and a lot of bad things are happening out there. We don't want to have bad news about you. We don't want to lose you, because we want you to be here so that you can see on how we are achieving the true independency of Africa continent. So please be cool, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Guys, please give me your thumbs up. Give me your thumbs up. Like this video. I want to see your likes. Yes, I want to see your likes as you are leaving. Make sure that you give us your thumbs up. Click that thumbs up. I want to see your like. I'm begging you, please. It's free of charge. You're not giving us money, okay? You're not giving us money. You're not making any contribution or whatsoever. It's just a way of you supporting us, because we want this message to reach even to many people out there. These are the kind of the message that the Western media will never gonna show you. CNN, BBC, they will not gonna show you all this. So please, the easy way for you to make sure that this message can benefit someone out there around the world about Africa, make sure that you give us your thumbs up. So I'm expecting you guys to like this video in your numbers. But for now, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.